Hello everyone, Jeff here with you for episode number 20 of the Wednesday Night Wrestling Blitz here on YouTube. This is a GMTE Express add-on exclusive. Let's get right into it. We'll begin it with AEW Wednesday Night Dynamite as it took place from the First Bank Center in Broomfield, Colorado, even though they were advertising it as Denver. It's in the Denver suburbs outside by about 15 miles or so. But anyways, it began with AEW World Champion Jon Moxley, who won the title at AEW Revolution. He opened the show here. He was out cutting up promos. Basically playing up the crowd here, talking about his win over Jericho, and he was interrupted by Jericho and the rest of the Inner Circle, who said that the Inner Circle is putting the entire AEW roster on watch, and the caveat here was that he'll leave voluntarily for 60 days if Moxley can leave the ring under his own power after the main event, which closed out the show. We'll see what happens there. Your opening contest for the night, we had SCU in Colt Capanna taking on the Dark Order here in 8-man tag team action. I thought the match, it was just kind of there. I mean, it was okay, I guess. I mean, it was really nothing special here. A lot of back and forth. Ultimately, the babyfaces win. Colt Capanna wins for his team after he pinned Reynolds with the Superman pin to win the match for his team. Afterwards, Evil Uno cut a promo once again threatening everyone that the arrival of the Exalted One is nearby. Obviously, again, a lot of speculation as to who this Exalted One is. More than likely going to be Matt Hardy. As we all know, his time in WWE is officially up now. So there was no sign of the Exalted One here on this show. So we'll see where that's going to happen going forward here pretty soon. Next match here, we had Big Swole taking on Leva Bates here. Leva Bates with a rare appearance here on Dynamite. Britt Baker was out for commentary and actually brought out Starbucks for Tony Schiavone. Spelled his name with the I instead of the Y again. That was the best thing about this whole match. This was a squash here. Big Swole won in a matter of moments. She pinned Bates after hitting Dirty Dancing for the win here. The match goes 2 minutes. Really nothing to it here. Really didn't even need to happen here. Cody Rhodes was out for a promo next, talking about how difficult it was to lose to MJF at Revolution. He doesn't get very far. He's interrupted by a very big surprise here. I didn't see this, and no one, as far as I know, knew he was going to be there. Jake the Snake Roberts, WWE Hall of Famer, he's out here. A bit of a surprise. Got a big reaction here. Great promo here from Snake Roberts here, who went on to say that he was bringing the, quote, dark side to AEW. Of course, that's a play off his time in WWF and also WCW. And he will be at ringside when his new client faces Cody down the line. And then also that Jake the Snake Roberts wants a share of the pie that Cody has. So it looks like they're going to use Jake the Snake Roberts as a manager for this new client. A lot of speculation as to who it could be. It could be maybe Lance Archer. Could possibly be Brody Lee, the former Luke Harper in WWE. A lot of speculation about those two. That it's more than likely going to be one of those two. But again, this was cool from Jake the Snake Roberts. I'm not doing any justice with what he said here. You got to go check out this promo. This was classic Jake the Snake Roberts cutting of a promo here. And hopefully the talent in the back was paying attention and taking notes when he was talking here. Next match on the card, we had Pac taking on Chuck Taylor of the Best Friends. The match was okay. Again, it was fine for what it was. Towards the end of the match here, Chuck Taylor missed the moonsault. It allowed Pac to lock in the Brutalizer, and he got the tap out eventually. After the match, Trent Beretta and Orange Cassidy had stare downs with Pac, but then they were jumped by the Lucha Bros. And now these three are calling themselves the Death Triangle. So a new faction here, a new group. We'll see where it goes. And then they went after Orange Cassidy, and we saw Pentagon actually biting Cassidy's ear, which was disgusting looking, to say the very least. Next match on the card, we had Jake Hager of the Inner Circle, his first wrestling action here on AEW Wednesday Night Dynamite. He took on QT Marshall here. You had Brandy and Dustin Rhodes out there with QT Marshall, and then you had the other members of the Inner Circle, without Jericho, obviously, but I think the others were out there. Pretty basic stuff here. This was a showcase for Hager. A couple hope spots for QT Marshall, but Hager wins with the stand-up version of the triangle choke. So he wins, and then Hager refused to let go of it after the bell had been called for. Dustin Rhodes came into the ring and tried to make the save. He got attacked by the Inner Circle. Cody Rhodes ultimately came out to try to get things going. He got beat down. Then Matt Jackson came out to try to help out. He got beat down. Then Hangman Adam Page actually came out to make the big save here. He had a big shot, buckshot lariat clothesline to take out Hager here because he left his beer on the ring post there, and then he gave a middle finger to Matt Jackson for good measure here. So, and he just left through the crowd. So that's what we had there. So there you go. We'll talk about where Nick Jackson and Kenny Omega were here in a couple of moments. MJF cut up a pre-recorded promo on Cody Rhodes, basically talking about how he defeated Cody Rhodes at Revolution. And then the payoff was him debuting this I Pin Cody t-shirt, this kind of old school retro t-shirt, if you will. So we had that. It was a decent promo. I thought I've heard better from MJF in the past, but this did its job, I guess. Your main event for the night here was supposed to be tag team action. We had Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara of the Inner Circle taking on Jon Moxley and Darby Allin. Just before Moxley comes out, we see a group of masked men that turned out to be members of the Inner Circle attack Moxley during his entrance, injuring him and taking him out of the match. So basically, it's a 2-on-1 handicap match. So they do a Bane switch here. Allin fights the match all by himself. He stays competitive for a while. Ultimately, the Inner Circle dominates. He makes the comeback. Actually hits coffin corners at one point to get back in the match, actually take control for a bit. But ultimately, towards the end, he's going through a dive through the ropes, and then he ran into a Judas Effect elbow from Jericho on the outside. He just tossed him back in, and Guevara pinned him and got the win for the Inner Circle here. And then, of course, predictably after the match, Moxley miraculously recovered and made his way back to the ring with a chair. He goes on a bit of an attack rage here for a bit, but then he's hit from behind by Jake Hager, and the Inner Circle go after Moxley again. And then they eventually work him up to the stage, and then they do a deal here where they did a Shield-esque triple powerbomb on him off the stage onto a table down below. And then we see all the members of the Inner Circle giving the middle finger salute. Clearly a shot at Vince McMahon in the WWE with not only the big powerbomb spot here, but the middle finger salute. That was clearly directed at Vince McMahon in the WWE into the camera as they were going off the air. So that was AEW Wednesday Night Dynamite that took place from the First Bank Center in Broomfield/Denver, Colorado. Just real quick before we get into NXT, they had advertised Lance Archer to be on the show. He was not there. Apparently, it was a creative decision, according to Dave Meltzer of Wrestling Observer Radio. He mentioned it was a creative decision not to have him on the show, even though he was advertised. Apparently, Nick Jackson, who was not there, he is back in his home in California. His wife is expecting their third child, I believe, so congratulations to them. That's going to be coming any time now. And Kenny Omega was not on the show. He supposedly has a broken pinky finger, so he's not expected to miss much time. He'll be back, so that's why we didn't see any of those guys on the show, so there you go. Let's talk about WWE NXT. Of course, it took place from Full Sail University in Winter Park, Florida. Next week's show will be taking place from the Performance Center in Orlando because the Full Sail University Arena is being used for something there by Full Sail, so they're going to be at the Performance Center next week. They opened up with the first of the two steel cage matches. It was the women's steel cage match that opened the show. We had Dakota Kai and Tegan Nox here in the steel cage match. Very good match, I thought. I thought these two told a great story here. They just go back and forth for a while. Tegan Nox hits a big splash off the top of the cage at one point on the Dakota down below. We get towards the end here. It looks like Tegan Nox is going to have the match won here. She's going down the cage. We see Raquel Gonzalez. She's been out there the whole time. Stopped her a few times from going out. Why Tegan Nox just didn't dive on Raquel to win the match at any point was beyond me. So she tries to go down through the cage. Raquel traps her with the door into the cage and allowing Dakota Kai to sneak out through the door and actually win the match here. So the match is fine. I was not a big fan of the finish here. To me, it just makes Dakota Kai look weak here to need Raquel Gonzalez to help her here. Was not a big fan of this. They're clearly going to have another match here, which I'm fine with, but I thought the finish here was not needed here. I knew what they were going for, but didn't really need to do it here. Finn Balor cut a pre-recorded promo on Walter. Of course, he got attacked by the Imperium last week. So basically, in this promo, he was comparing the feud to a game of chess. So that was the takeaway here from Finn Balor. So they're going to have that match coming up here pretty soon. We got a video package showing NXT Women's Champion Rhea Ripley visiting Raymond James Stadium, of course, with the Tampa Bay Bucks playing the NFL. It's where WrestleMania 36 is going to be taking place, and also where the Tampa Bay Vipers of the XFL play their games as well. So a little bit of plug in there for the XFL here. So basically, she's talking about her match with Charlotte Flair that's coming up for WrestleMania. So, and I still think Rhea Ripley's going to find her way along with Bianca Belair into this match with Charlotte Flair. So we'll have that coming up. Next match on the card, another women's match here. This was a first round matchup for the tournament here for this ladder or whatever it was. This shot at, I guess, being the number one contender here for the title at some point. We had Chelsea Green, of course, with Robbie E, of course, now known as Robert Stone. She's taking on Shotzi Blackheart, who came out in her little Jeep here. Pretty basic stuff here. I mean, Chelsea Green actually got a surprisingly clean win here on Shotzi Blackheart. Beat her with a variation of the Unprettier. So Chelsea Green gets a win here over Shotzi Blackheart. So, I mean, Shotzi's pretty much over with the crowd here, so it didn't really hurt her to lose her to Chelsea Green. Cameron Grimes came out, or I should say Keith Lee came out to cut a promo. He's talking about the NXT North American title and runs out all the guys who were trying to go after him. Cameron Grimes interrupts the promo here to cut a promo about their match for the NXT North American title. That's going to happen on next week's program. And then Keith Lee ultimately went after Cameron Grimes to send a message leading up to that match next week at the Performance Center in Orlando. We had a WWE YouTube video that was played that showed Austin Theory outside the arena earlier in the day, talking about how great he is, how he's the greatest of all time already. Isaiah Swerve Scott happened to be in the area when this was going on. He challenges Austin Theory to a match for later on in the show, so that's what we had there. We had tag team competition next. We had Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish in the Undisputed Era taking on Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan here. I thought this was actually a pretty good match, hard-hitting action here. I thought this was pretty good storytelling here. Ultimately, the heels, I guess the Undisputed Era, or the heels, I guess, in this program, they win. O'Reilly won for his team after he pinned Lorcan with the variation of the high-low after Lorcan had rallied for his team to actually get close to winning the match, but he ran into a high-low and the Undisputed Era won. After the match, O'Reilly and Fish cut a promo about getting the tag team titles back from the Broserweights, or as they called them, the Loserweights. Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle, the tag team champions, do come out to try to start the respond, but they're attacked from behind by the Grizzled Young Veterans. And then we see Zach Gibson cut a promo about wanting the tag team titles, so we're clearly going to get an O'Reilly-Fish Undisputed Era Grizzled Young Veterans program here, or at least a match coming up here in the future. We had that Austin Theory Isaiah Swerve Scott match that happened next here. This match, it's a good match. Bit of a surprise here. Austin Theory, he got a clean win here over Swerve Scott. After a good match, he hit the unproven cutter here on Scott and actually got a surprise win here. So they seem to be big on him right now. They're giving him a big of a push. So nice win for Austin Theory here and a pretty good match. We had a pre-taped sit-down interview, and were promoting this throughout the show in the Performance Center with Mauro Ranallo and Johnny Gargano here. Gargano really went in on Mauro Ranallo. He got into his face a few times, basically saying he doesn't know really what he's all about. Ranallo doesn't know about Johnny Gargano and all that. So much so, Mauro Ranallo wound up just leaving the interview, and basically Gargano cut a promo with Tommaso Ciampa into the camera, saying that he's ready for his match with him coming up here in the near future. So we had that. This was a very good promo here from Gargano. Very good stuff. Go out and check it out. Your main event for the night was the steel cage match here, the second of the two here. Roderick Strong taking on Velveteen Dream here. Very good stuff here. Went about 15-20 minutes or so. Good stuff here from both guys. At one point, we see Maria Shafar actually bring a kendo stick down to Roderick Strong that gets used during the match. Ultimately, Roderick Strong actually won the match. Velveteen Dream actually pushed him outside because Adam Cole had gotten involved here. Velveteen Dream actually pushed Roderick Strong out of the cage, so he won the match. And, with Velveteen Dream and Adam Cole in the ring, Velveteen Dream locked the cage, and he went all in on Adam Cole, went right after him. He attacked him and was able to fend off the other members of the Undisputed Era. And they closed the show with Velveteen Dream posing on top of the cage with the NXT title. So they're clearly setting up a match between Velveteen Dream and Adam Cole for the title. So that looks to be pretty good. I'm looking forward to that. So that was WWE NXT that took place from Full Sail University in Winter Park, Florida. Let's very quickly go over the ratings for this week. They're in for both shows here. And once again, it showed that AEW Wednesday Night Dynamite won yet again. The post-Revolution edition of Dynamite drew 906,000 viewers. That is up 4.7% from last week, and they defeated NXT, which did 718,000 viewers, which was up about a 0.1% here. So Dynamite won by 26% in the overall viewership, according to Showbuzz Daily. AEW ranked 9th for the night in the cable 150, and NXT ranked 17th. AEW ranked 58th in viewership, and NXT was 75th. AEW won in all the demos. They did a 0-3-5 in the key 18-49 demo, which is up 17% from last week. And NXT did a 0-2-3, which was the same as they did last week. So, big win here for AEW, which was surprising. I actually thought this would be a lot closer here. NXT had advertised 2 steel cage matches, and it still wasn't enough. AEW just dominated in the male 18-49 demo. That's what really got them the win here. In the overall demos, AEW won every demo except the 50+, which they actually tied with NXT this week. So almost a clean sweep for the second week in a row for AEW. It just happened to be a tie in the 50+, but they won every other demo pretty convincingly. So through 22 weeks, we have AEW with 18 wins in the overall viewership, NXT with 3 wins, and we had the 1 tie. So that's what we have as far as ratings. My pick of the week here, I'm going to go with NXT this week. NXT, I thought, from start to finish, had the better action. I thought AEW coming off their post-Revolution, the post-Revolution show here, coming out of Revolution, I don't know. I thought I was going to see more here. I thought this came off kind of flat. I mean, there was some decent stuff here in the show, but I don't know. Maybe my expectations were a bit too high here. I didn't think AEW delivered quite as well as I thought it would. But there was still, not really a whole lot wrong with it. Obviously, the women's match was really nothing to write home about. I thought the 8-man tag with SCU and Colt Cabana taking on the Dark Order kind of fell flat a little bit as well. And the bait and switch at the end there in the tag match, wasn't really a big fan of that. I like what they did with Moxley at the end. That was fine, but I don't know. I just thought AEW came off kind of flat to me. I was expecting a bit more. So NXT is my pick of the week. So through 20 episodes, I have NXT with 12 picks and AEW with 8 picks. Let me know down in the comments section below what your favorite moment from Wednesday's wrestling action was. We'll see you the next time with the next Wednesday Night Wrestling Blitz here on YouTube. Bye for now, everyone.